Hey guys, welcome to another developer sneak peek. And today I want to show you the new improvements that we have done to the direct printing in Titan and quite a few new features that you will like. So, as you know, Titan supports direct printing so far. We had exporting local STLs. We could export directly to Lux Creo, Lux Design software, so that there they generate the shell and then they go to the Lux Flow and they print. Or we can export directly to Graphy, a direct aligner design software, so that in there you could generate the shell as well and export. With all of these options, you have to go to different software. You have to spend the time, set it up there, then export and then print. Is a lot of steps. So to make it this faster for you and more easy to customize, we now export the shell. So Titan is now able to export a shell for you. For this, let me see. When you go to click export and it opens the settings for the print, you have your normal labels, the trimline, things like that, a WhatsApp, Halloween, and the shell. Now you have the shell. So for the shell generation, if you click here, see, now we generate a shell for you, and it's all very fast. So it's real time almost. So this is the shell that is generated, and as you move the time, it updates. As you move, the shell updates, and you can see the shell in two ways, like this, so that you can see through and see where the teeth are inside the shell, and what gaps you have, uh, or you can see it as shell. And when you see a shell, this is the shell that is generated. And again, if you move the time, it updates depending on the teeth movements. Um, Now, the same for the mandible, and let me see, confine. Now, we have settings to easily customize the shell. So on the very basic, you have the thickness. So you can make it very thick, you know, or just the regular thickness, like zero point 0.6 over here. You can also customize the thickness for anterior and posterior teeth separately. So if you enable here posterior, then you could make it very thick on the posterior, or vice versa. You can make it anterior thick and then the posterior very thin. This you will want to do this whenever you have like let's say that there is a lot of movements on the molars, that you need a lot of traction and a lot of force in there, so you can make it a bit wider. And then in the anterior, you don't have many movements. You just want to, the holding and the anchoring there. It's fine to have a regular thin thickness or a little bit thinner. So you can play with it. If you see in the shell here, so if I make the posterior wider, you see the posterior thickness gets wider. Now, the problem with making it wider is like, see, let me bring the anterior teeth a bit. Is that this thickness, the overall, yeah, it's thicker all over the shell, but because this region over here becomes too bulky, then when the two teeth, the bite, when it closes, it will have a lot of material in between the teeth, and that will make it difficult for the patient to, close, and it feels weird. Uh, you could keep a thick, bulky material in there if the patient grinds their teeth and just to have more strength. But for most cases, you want to have a wider, thicker shell, but not in the occlusal. So we added a setting here, occlusal, to customize, and then you can reduce the thickness just on the occlusal. You can make it, way bulkier, or just reduce it thinner. Um, let's say 0.4. That way, that way you can still keep your your strength over here, on the top, on the middle section thing where the forces are being applied, but on the places where it touches the other teeth, it's not that bulky. And it's options. Play with it. You can enable it. Um, and playing is almost real time. You just click and it updates right in there. Now, another option that we have is the separation. So let's say, put it on shell. Let's say that I want to have it, normally it's very flush to the surface of the teeth, but you can make it a bit, separated. Like, I mean, you could go crazy and make it uh, way separated. But what the configuration that you most likely will use is very flush on the teeth, very flush on the teeth, but then on the gingiva, which is not enabled at the moment, we're going to enable it soon. In the gingiva, then you separate it more. That way, over here on the teeth, it grips and holds it so that it can move it. But where it meets the gingiva, on the gum surface, it's spread out, it flares out, and that way it's not that it doesn't touch as much the patient gum, and it can be more comfortable for him. Again, this is going to be a per case setting, so it will depend on the patient and your settings, your your comfort, things like that. We're also going to be enabling more waxing for the interproximal, things like that. That's going to be next. Now, the other thing that we allow you to customize is the cut. So if you see here, this is the straight cut. See, that is a straight cut. And then when you take round, you get a smooth, um, see, a smooth surface. Now, the difference between both, it both are useful. The usefulness of them, it will become where do you want to place the supports. If you're gonna place the supports, so if you're gonna print it upside down and have the supports all over this area, then you want it to have, that grip, that flatness. The supports are there, and then when you take them out, you could smooth it out, and you don't lose a lot of material. So you smooth out from there, and it becomes fine. Because if it's already smooth, you take it off and then you try to smooth out, it's gonna become very, very thin. So flat if you're gonna do upside down with the supports and the surface, and round if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna put the supports like this here on the bottom, and then you just want this to be already smooth. Maybe you will do a small polishing, but overall is already smooth. But yes, these are the settings for the shell. And once you're ready, let me see. Let me see. Once I'm ready with the shell, I just come to export, export STLs. I say which one I want, the template, 5 aligners on the top, the maxilla, the mandible. I want a shell, a horizontal, and export. And submit and start exporting. And exporting is really fast. As you can see, here's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's generating the shells right there, 5, 6. So it doesn't take time at all. And once you finish, it will export all these files for you. The mandible, say there's the shell ready to print, the maxilla, there you go. This one is a smooth. This one has a smoothness. So yeah, it's ready to print on your favorite material. Um, there's going to be a lot more work into this and more options. But here you go. Now you have direct print support, the shell directly from Titan. And The good thing about this is that even if you're not using the shell, even if you're not doing direct printing, this still helps you. Why? Because the technology that was needed to create this shell is the same technology that is needed to do the hollow model and more advanced waxing. So as soon as we return from AAO, these are the two things that we're just going to release, our hollow model support and our advanced waxing, for the undercuts, interproximal, the smoothness and the blending between it. There's going to be a lot of things that even if you don't use direct printing, it's going to benefit you. So I hope you like it. And if you're going to AAO, please come by and meet us there. And if you're there as well, vote for us on the AI contest. We're gonna be showing more things related to AI and new features. So stay tuned and hope to see you there. Have a good one.